If you live down the street and I still coached full time like I used to, by the end of this summer, I think you'd be shooting in the mid to upper 70s.
Did you hear that?
I don't even think that's exaggerated.
Pennsylvania, I'm coming.
Wake up, bro. It's an entirely reasonable time.
Bro, I'm awake.
Dude, you're late. It's a super reasonable time to go get a lesson. Today's the day we fix everything.
You gonna fix me?
We will all be reborn. You're late.
I know.
You gotta get up, man.
I know.
Today's the big day. Today you could be a different man.
Yeah, like after today, I don't know. Single digit handicap.
Whoa.
Could it be in the books?
What do you think he's gonna say to you? And is he like, he's like one of the best coaches in America.
Yeah,
So like,
I think he's gonna say some 3 words that I don't know. I think he's gonna say, take away with the drivers.
Jonas, will you give us a rundown of what we're doing? Where are we going?
Yeah, we are going to Bethlehem Golf Club. We're gonna get there to get some lessons. I really hope that Eric is gonna fix my driver.
This is the point in the series where this gets serious.
Yeah.
You guys have seen it out there. There's a lot of comments in there like, no way, Tim's a 5. Or like, Jonas, you're gonna shoot a 140 at Pinehurst too. And you know what? Rewind to the first episode of the series and you're right. You're right, the boys would have blown it. No chance. But it all turns around today. Today's the day. We're fixing Tim. We're fixing Jonas. We got one of the best coaches in America, and he's gonna blow your goddamn mind.
I'm interested to hear when we start, like, what the issues are with everyone's game.
Yeah.
You know, like what I saw in the swing videos and what I think probably happens compared to what actually goes on there.
Yeah.
I think it'll be cool. But for Joonas, I mean, look at that tip. Good night.
He's been driving like crazy lately.
Joonas a little bit of a wild card. I'm interested to see what his ball flight is. I think his swing pattern is like really good. He needs like refining.
Yeah.
But how he moves already athletically is.
I'm hearing there's hope.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
I'm
huge
hearing there's
hope.
Pinehurst hope.
There's huge hope. Now, will we see like the benefits of all that right now, right away? I don't know. We'll see. It'll happen. It's just a matter of time. Now, him trying to hit driver off the deck could be part of the problem there too. But
Now, you made a big promise to them at the PGA show, yeah?
I almost want to borderline guarantee that if we did this, you would break 90 at TPC Sawgrass in 6 months. From a swing mechanics perspective, he's got a swing that with a little refinement should easily break 90. And I mean easily. Now, I haven't seen him like hit his driver yet, manage his way around the course. Can he chip and putt at all? Is he getting out of bunkers, distance control?
I don't want to be the spoiler guy, but I
got to see some of that
you
stuff.
got some work.
Yeah. But I think in terms of like his overall swing pattern, with some tweaks, he's got a swing that over time he could shoot in the 70s. In my mind, like no problem. Tim should be a little more straightforward. Like I think that's given some get the ball in the hole stuff. That to me sounds easy. I almost think we should like make that goal harder. Joonas, I feel like, man, he could be on and like shoot a really good score probably, but I also see a world where he's off the limit and it could get dark. Let's talk about your golf game a little
Yeah.
bit. So we talked I guess a couple months ago a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of background, but maybe since then, where you're at with your game, what you're struggling with, what you want to improve upon.
The driver miss, it's like a big slice usually. Like long irons are kind of hard. I get like this leaky right that like when I don't actually like move my weight enough forward, it goes like low and right.
So as the clubs get longer, you tend to miss more right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then contact-wise, let's say with like an iron, if you don't hit it perfectly solid,
Yeah.
any more towards like fat, thin, heel toe?
It's pretty much all over the place. Yeah.
And like macro zoomed out, the goal is to get the handicap single digits.
Yeah.
The first objective. Okay, cool. Let's hit a couple shots, maybe like 4 or 5 with that 8 iron. We'll gradually work our way up through the bag, hit some longer clubs.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at it and we'll
Cool.
figure out what we're gonna do.
Cool.
See, like when he hits shots like that, that's a telltale sign for me of a coach of like what someone's ceiling is, like how good could he actually get. That 8 iron is like, your good shots, I'm assuming, are really good.
Yeah.
It's your bad shots that aren't good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So that 8 iron shot would be good enough to be a scratch golfer. That's
Yeah.
excellent. But now we might see one as the clubs get longer that go over here that like a scratch golfer would never hit. some of your motions through the ball, like you literally could be about as good as you decide you want to be. Like how much work you'll put in. Now, you might not win the Masters ever.
Yeah. But
Okay.
it's,
Really good, dude. Holy cow. If you live down the street and I still coached full time like I used to, and let's say you came in for a lesson once a week for 30 minutes, by the end of this summer, I think you'd be shooting in the mid to upper 70s.
did you hear that?
I don't even think that's exaggerated.
Yeah.
Get some immigration lawyers.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man.
I think
Pennsylvania, I'm coming.
it's pretty conservative.
Yeah.
I think I'm good with that 8-iron.
Okay.
Let's move up to a club that you start to struggle with.
Let's say 5.
Yep, let's do that. Beauty.
That's probably the best 5-iron I have hit maybe in 3 weeks.
There we go. Perfect. That's the fat shot.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's do like 3 drivers, please.
Cool.
There we go. That's the sky
That's
one.
high.
Yep.
Like the swing feels nice, but still it's like it's not there.
See signs of it. Okay, cool.
Like that's in
So-
play, but it's still like a
Yeah, it's the right miss.
yeah.
We got a lot of good sequencing. Like we'll put your swing up here. If we look at your body motions during the downswing, your ability to be able to like rotate and side bend and move your body is really good. I would say your issue comes more of where the shaft and the club are at. So your body motions on the way down are really good. You got some body motion issues on the way back.
Yeah.
Your shaft is too narrow, which some might call like steep,
Yeah.
right? And that's a lot of why you struggle with the longer clubs going to the right. So like good body motions through the hit, shaft is way too narrow on the way down, handle gets really, really far forward. In terms of closing a club face, you could do that a bunch of different ways, but like this is where the club face points, right? When you come down, the more the handle goes forward, the more the face points to the right.
Yeah.
It's kind of the simplified version.
Yeah. True.
So one way to close the club face is to have less shaft lean. So if you start to allow the club to release a little bit sooner, that ends up, let's say towards the camera here, too much shaft lean, it points to the right. But if I take the shaft lean away, like if I start to release a little bit earlier, you can square, that squares it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah. So that's good news, right? It's not like, oh, there's 6 things. You got to change your grip, your wrist angle, your this. You kind of have to release it sooner.
Yeah.
Now, huge caveat for those watching, and I mean huge. That is a 1 out of 10 golfer problem. Most golfers release the club too soon,
Yeah.
and they need more of what you got. Close the face, hold it off. You got the opposite problem. The only other thing I'll say, and we'll look at the video, your setup's pretty good. You've got a strong grip. That's fine. You have a lot of hip sway away from the target that we'll see.
Yeah,
in the
I
backswing.
know. I know. Yeah.
And that doesn't matter if you make your downswing, you can make up for it. But the more you move your hips to the right, moves your low point back.
Oh, and that's where
Fat shots.
that's true.
It would increase the odds of hitting behind the ball.
Yeah.
Right hip turns, shaft is wide. Right foot flared, right hip turn, wide.
This series is changing to, well, it's breaking at Pinehurst, right? For sure. But also, it's really about like breaking Jonas and him unleashing the potential. Like that's really what this is. That's what I was hoping for the whole time. It's just to watch this man like.
I think if you had something that helped you feel like, give you like physical feedback, you know, to hinge enough or not hinge enough. So you're good with this part. You need to get it less up.
Oh yeah.
So it's got to be more this way.
Yeah, neutral.
So like this, your wrist should be like fully lengthened out versus this way.
Oh.
You do a good job with this motion.
Okay.
Like you're pretty cool there.
Yeah.
It's too up.
Yeah, so it needs to be like neutral.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like this here, for example, let's say we pop this on here. We'll have to play around with where to put it. But this is a good guide to give you like how much wrist hinge you should have. So a lot of players, I'll put this on to get them to hinge more. So like, hey, you got to get this on your wrist.
Yeah.
And then like keep it on. But because you hinge too much, we can use something like this to say, don't ever let it hit your arm.
Yeah.
So don't hit it.
Don't hit it. Yeah.
Don't hit it. Compared to you would go on it and you're gonna like push in your arm. So let's try this. Let's see. Hallelujah. Yes, dude. This is what your practice is gonna be. It's everything we talked about. It just gives you, it's easier for you to feel this. Look at how wide that is.
Yeah, that's crazy wide.
But like, if a golfer came in and they looked like that at the top, I'd be like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
But for you, it's
Yeah.
gonna feel maximum
Yeah.
width. So here's what we need to do. If you could hit 20 balls with this on, at least 3 to 4 times a week, where you just do what we just did. Half swing, slow, keep it off the wrist. Half swing, slow, keep off the wrist. Right foot flared, right hip turn,
Right hip turn.
wide.
Yeah.
Just those things with just an 8-iron for the next 30 days, and then we'll reconvene. You send me videos.
Okay.
And then we can like tweak what the next part is gonna be.
Yeah.
There's different ways to do this thing, but that for you, clearly you do it the best.
Yeah. Okay. So and like this will also help me with release of the driver.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Hallelujah.
Oh yes.
There's a lot of doubters in the comments on the first couple videos. But as this lesson goes on and on, I was one of them. I'm a huge doubter. I have money on doubting Jonas.
That being said, I do have a bet with the editor of the series, Aussie. I bet 250 on each of you to not break your goals at Sawgrass.
What? And as this lesson goes on, I don't know, man. I'm getting a little nervous. When one of the best coaches in America is like, oh yeah, in a year you could be like low 70s. If he grinds, obviously. That's a scary sentence. It's a scary sentence for somebody with like some money on him not breaking his goal at Pinehurst too.
What's the take on him hitting his goal at Pinehurst #2?
When I see where he is 30 days from now, I'll have a very good answer to that.
Okay.
Because I'll see like either he did the practice and this works like I thought, or it didn't and we got to find a different path. But it's a little bit like I'm giving him a pill. We got to test it and see what happens. But I would say 90+% certain of the single digit handicap. How he's going to play on that single event is still up in the air to be seen.
Yeah.
How many 15 handicaps have you had walk through that had his problem of being too?
Once a decade. Honestly, very rare. 1 out of hundreds.
This has been like.
You made me work a little harder than I thought I was
Yeah.
gonna have to, but
But like man, I'm
all
really
good.
grateful. This has
Yeah,
been
man.
like a lesson of my life.
oh, good.
Like feels like it.
Okay, Mr. Tim, let's
sir.
talk about you and your golf game.
Yep.
Where we're at now. Maybe let's say like the main things you'd like to be able to improve upon. Obviously, we're gonna hit some full swing shots first. So,
Right.
swing wise, game wise, where you're at, what you want to work on, and
Yeah.
we'll get done.
So right now I'm like a 5 handicap, right? Like 5.2 technically, but the iron game long game has been the strongest part of my game for a long time. The biggest pain points for me has been when I get close to the green, right? Like those under 120 yard shots. Just a big giant question mark. But overall, like the full swings have actually been feeling really good. But I'll be curious to see what you see when you see the swing. Like obviously, I'm sure there's stuff to improve. But
So if you don't hit it well, let's say you got like what club do you have there, Tim?
7 iron, yeah.
Are there tendencies in terms of like fat, thin, left, right?
So it used to be fat, but now it might be a hair thin.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like I'll just get a little too steep and kind of overcook it left, right?
Let's why don't we let's hit like 4 or 5 shots. Any swing feels or things you're doing at the moment, or
Scotty Scheffler. I saw an interview, somebody talking about Scotty Scheffler's swing, and they said Scotty hits the ball with his big muscles. And I've been super obsessed with hands and like trying to create all these positions, and then it just got like super mental, not consistent. And then I just started thinking, actually, like I'm trying to hit the ball with my right shoulder, and the path with my right shoulder, like that's what I'm sending.
Like that.
And less worried about like my hands and all of that.
okay,
So
I like it. When you're hitting good like that, is it a little draw bias?
yeah. The stock shot is a draw. See, there's the thin.
Yeah. Okay. Similar to Jonas, where you're good you know, your good ones you hit are great.
Yeah.
Good ball flight, good little curve. But then the misses are too far off. You have a lot of good in here. Like the things that you do that are pretty obvious, you aim quite a bit to the right.
Yeah, that's overcompensation. I know I'm doing that. But it's a feel. Like, cause I was aiming open, and so then I thought I was aiming close and wasn't. So I've like,
Crept in
alignment has been, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised you say that,
But really clean, like really clean, where aimed a little right, ball's a little back. Now, when you go back, just kind of looking at your golf swing as a whole, there's like two things that happen. One, you have a very long arm swing.
Yep.
So if we look at you at the top, now like, here's what's tricky as a coach. So does Scotty Scheffler.
Mm-hmm.
So anything I'm gonna say about, oh, it'd be nice to shorten your arm swing a little bit, it's like, well, okay, you can do it, but does that make things more difficult? Absolutely. All things equal, it'd be like, okay, could we have your arms a little bit shorter and test that and say, does that make us more consistent or not? Very rarely, assuming you do something similar, long arm swing and good wedge players usually don't match up.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it could even be like, hey, with the longer clubs, let's let it go. Let's let it go long. But as the clubs get shorter, you have a double whammy.
Yep.
A lot of turn and a lot of arms.
Yep.
Usually, like you see, hey, I got a lot of turn, but a shorter arm swing with it, but you got a double whammy. So that could be something with the shorter clubs we tighten up, like to like right there. Honestly, you guys both have great body motions. You just have other parts of the swing that match it well. He just doesn't yet, you know? I think all in all, really good. It's probably like an A-. The arm thing keeps it from being an A+. If we get the aim a little less to the right, and then shorten the arm swing. But here's the thing. You get driver in your hands or longer clubs, some of that stuff can benefit you. So let's do this to start with, just to give you an awareness, and then we'll kind of build through our feels. We're gonna focus on two things, right? One is the aim being more square, and then two is gonna really be the backswing length. We can take away a little body turn, but let's really feel like the arms are shorter. And so to start with, make a first swing where your backswing and the follow through is the same exact length. So let's say from here to where my hands feel like they're about even with my hip.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go through where they're about even with my hip. But then on the second swing, I'm gonna go back where they still feel even with my hip, but instead of the same length on the way through, I'm gonna go all the way to a full finish. So it'll look like this. Hip high on swing one, hip high full on swing two. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're gonna do a little two swing routine there. Awesome. And then let's go hip high full on swing two. So that gives us a gauge now of like, how long or short does our backswing need to feel? Do we need to feel longer or shorter than hip high? So now we're looking at the practice video. This is your hip high, right? Because we know it's never gonna go there.
Oh, wow, yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. So shoulder high.
Yeah. That's not where my hip is?
Yeah. So now let's see, this is you feeling hip high back, full finish.
It's like a full swing. I should just do that.
So this, guys, if you have a swing length issue, because I struggled with that myself, you kind of trick your brain into it by doing swing one where it's the same length, hip high, and then you keep that the same, but then go full speed, full swing into the finish. Talk me through what you would do. What club do you have?
So 56, which is what I've historically loved to play for most of the short stuff. So I would just think of like, okay, this is how I would probably approach this.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's more like a little, I don't know, hip to hip, pocket to pocket, just a little pitch shot.
Love it. 40 for me is pocket. So that's 10 out of 10. Let's see if you can repeat it. Literally can't do it any better. Now let's say 50.
Yep.
50, let's go halfway between the red and the green. So
Yep.
kind of like, yeah, somewhere between the two. And let's say this might be like hip to hip.
Yep.
So hands, hip to hip. And if you guys are putting a wedge system in, you can do this multiple ways. I like to do where your hands feel like they are. So they're not gonna actually go hip to hip, it's just a feeling. It feels hip to hip. That's beautiful. Okay, are you good in these distances?
No, I'm not, but that's because I don't hit this. Like a flop shot, 60, and then like maybe thin it over the green or leave it way short. Like very poor, very poor.
So here's another rule, is anytime you have a distance, you have a shot from 150 in, this obviously goes for you too back there, you have a shot from 150 in, we are hitting a stock shot.
Yep.
So if the pin's front and they'd be like, oh, I could flop this over the bunker, yeah. Nope, we'll go 50, we'll take 15 feet by the pin. If it's in the back, oh, I could hit this little low runner back there, a little draw, you know what I mean? Nope, stock shot. If it's a little short, it's a little short.
Love it.
So 50 kind of feels hip to hip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just here to here.
Your technique looks great, dude. Let's go to the green pole 60.
So that
60 for me is just above hip, just above hip.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the feel. Hands are just above hip, just above hip. You'll see, they won't actually go there. It's the feel. I mean, that is really good, dude. Holy cow. We gotta I gotta see your filmed rounds and see what's going on.
No, you don't. Don't watch any of them, Eric. Eric, watch only the ones after this.
I gotta see this,
Only
dude.
the ones after this.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking to see too. I mean, is there anything else here that would hold you back? But so far, this looks
It's
really
up
good.
here. It's hiding
I
behind
can tell
a
the
Takomo
brain
hat.
needs a little work. 60 just above hip, above hip. Really nice, man. That's really good. That wedge play that so far on a range would be even with players that I work with who are scratch handicaps, no problem. Now, my scratch handicap guys, though, don't look at a 70-yard shot and go, oh, let me hit this high cut floater.
That's because they're not cool like me.
Yeah.
We're getting rain. We're getting rain. We need to bail quick.
Can you run back that comment about Tim's handicap?
Yeah, so I think, having seen a little bit of practice now, I think Tim, we could help get really good really quick. I think we could cut the handicap in half in 3 months, just 5 to 2.5, and from 5 to 0, if not by the end of the year, within 12 months. So Tim's improvement should happen fast. You should hit the ball better immediately. Yep. The big boy over there, okay, that's going to take a little more time, but I think what'll happen, Tim will get a lot better sooner, but at some point over time, Jonas they're going to catch up. I think they'll meet at some point. When that point is, yet to be seen. Stay tuned. But you should play good immediately with this stuff.
Yeah, no pressure.
So no excuses. You've got a little built-in, excuse. You're working on stuff.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I wanted to hop in here and give you a quick update on what's been going on in my game and Jonas's game since those lessons with Eric, and also tell you about what's coming up on the breaking series, because we have two very, very important challenges that me and Jonas are going to be taking on as we get ready for Pinehurst number 2. So first, let's start with the golf game updates. All right, so let's start with my game. So what I was working on primarily with Eric is shortening my golf swing, so I'm in a bit more control, specifically with the irons, and then also having a wedge clock system, but basically just a good wedge system. So I have a game plan going into the partial wedge shots. That is what I've been spending so much time on, and it is paying dividends on the golf course in big ways for me. My handicap, when I started this, was just over 5. It was 5 point something, and now it is, for the first time ever, just under 5. It's 4.9. But now let's talk about Jonas' game. So the reason Jonas isn't giving this update himself is because he's actually on a golf trip with some buddies. He's been playing a ton of golf. Obviously, he's got a lot of things that he's working on in his swing, so it does take time and patience to implement them, but his scores have been coming down consistently. He started this journey at a 15 point something handicap, and now his handicap has dropped below 12 because of all the work he's been putting in. He knows exactly what he's got to keep working on and just keep grinding on making those changes that feel huge for him. But now I got to tell you about the 2 things that are coming up, the 2 next episodes in the breaking series, because they might be our biggest challenges yet. So I'm going to play in my first ever amateur golf tournament. I've played in charity scrambles, all those kinds of things for years, but never played a solo tournament where it's just me going out there playing 18. It is going to be the first real pressure that I've felt on a golf course, in a tournament setting. And I thought that'd be really, really important for me as I get ready for Pinehurst, because there's going to be so much more pressure on that round of golf. And the goal is obviously to break 80. Now Jonas is going to be taking on a 7,000 plus yard course in Finland and playing it from the tips. The sheer length of Pinehurst number 2 is going to be one of the biggest challenges for Jonas, and he knows that. It's causing him some anxiety, which I get. So that's where we're at, that's where we're going, and we are getting so close to Pinehurst. I am genuinely so excited about this. I am nervous, but because of the changes and the improvements that I'm seeing in my game, Jonas is seeing in his game, I have more confidence than I ever have that we're gonna give this a good shot. I don't know if we're for sure gonna get it done, but I feel like we both are gonna be in a position where we're gonna feel like we really can do it on that day. So I'm excited about that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting what we're doing here. As always, see you on the next one.